thank you so much for being here, Theresa Cantafio. Am I saying that right?
Yes, Cantafio.
Is that Italian, right?
It's very Italian.
Okay, I'm Italian as well. So.
Oh.
Yeah, I like that. So thanks for being here in Chicago from Denver today. So tell us what you're up to today with your career.
Thanks for having me. I'm so flattered to be here. So right now I'm actually in between jobs again. I start a new job on Monday the 24th.
Okay, congrats.
And thank you. So I'm leaving a VP position in marketing and trend insights in the food industry.
Okay.
And now I'm taking a leap to being just general branding industry, and I will be their brand strategist.
Okay, amazing. Well, tell us about your career from college on, because you've got an interesting story in food and science and bringing it all together.
Yes, very interesting story. And I love to tell the story to people that are in college to know you take these twists and turns that you will never have expected.
I'm going to be an astronaut in 5 years or something with puppies.
Yes.
So I don't know what and I'm old.
Just follow your heart. Do what gets you excited. That's the best way you can bring positivity to this world. So studied food science in college, and I had a minor in photography. Those as if those really went together.
I think like the creativity aspect of it. Yeah. So food science was an actual major.
Yes.
Okay.
And you saying like, oh, it's an actual major. So many people that I've met are like, what, do you put like a donut under a magnifying glass and go, that's delicious? You know, I'm like, oh, it's not.
And I mean it like I would have done that had it been around when I.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a real, so it's pretty much a concentration in chemistry, biology.
Oh my gosh.
Covering a lot of food safety and food processing.
Yeah.
Very technical degree. I went to Dominican University in River Forest in Illinois, just outside city limits.
Amazing.
It was a small, but it was a really great chemistry program. So that's kind of what they built it upon, but it was way more of a holistic degree. So a lot more culinary focused, which I loved.
And you kind of need that if you're studying food science.
You totally need that. I feel like some programs that are just fantastic, more engineer focused, they
take the fun out of it.
They take the fun. They take the beauty out of food. Yeah. And I think we start to disconnect ourselves from nature a little too much. It's still very important with our global food system to have really technical engineers, but I do think it helps to ground us to start in culinary. Yeah. And so the degree that I do not believe is longer at Dominican University, I think they stopped that. More it's just culinology now.
Ooh,
so way more culinary focus and a little bit technical. I still love that. So that's pretty much what my degree was in. And
did you grow up cooking Italian? You had to,
Yes.
I used to make the pasta fresh with my grandmother.
Oh my God.
With this
what kind of pasta?
Board, raviolis.
Oh yeah.
Homemade raviolis. Yeah. She had this like board with squares cut out, and you would make a big long sheet and then make the little square. It was amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah. My brothers would eat them raw. That's how good they were, the raviolis.
With the raw. Hey, you probably would be okay. As long as it's not raw meat inside.
No, it was like spinach and ricotta. Yeah.
Yum.
They'd be like, I'm just going to test it and make sure it's okay.
Make sure it's not poison.
Yeah.
Where in Italy was your family from?
You know, I don't even know.
Okay.
Yeah, that I don't know.
Just distant.
Yeah, I'll probably be in trouble for saying that, but I don't know. But yeah, my grandmother was full 100% Italian. Amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. And cooked everything from scratch.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So I'm half Irish, half Italian, and my Irish grandma, I was a little bit closer with when I was younger. She babysat us a lot.
Yeah.
And she was, I'm sorry, if my family's listening, I'm sorry, but she was a terrible cook, but she loved to cook. She loved making waffles and cinnamon bread. And so when I was a little wee one in the kitchen with her, I'd always want to watch her do something. And so she'd show me how to fold egg whites into something, how to proof bread dough.
Okay.
And since the age of 3 or 4, I was just really comfortable in the kitchen.
Yeah, I love that.
Eventually I started learning the more advanced things with my Italian side, which was homemade ravioli, braised red meats, like really good red sauces and
so good.
Yeah.
I'm on keto and haven't eaten today.
No,
so
I'm
about
sorry.
Food. Yeah.
You're like, why are you doing this to me?
I love a good pasta and bread.
Carbs.
And
yes, carbs.
Carbs with a side of carbs. Okay. So you get the degree in food science.
Yes. Yeah. And so I was originally going to study only culinary at Kendall probably in Chicago. And then I was oddly enough for an 18-year-old was like, I should be realistic. And I don't want to work 14 to 18 hour days on my feet as a line cook or sous chef.
And is that typically the journey?
I would pretty much.
I mean, I watch Food Network and that's kind of what they say, but I don't know how true it is. Yeah,
it's pretty true. So if I didn't go to culinary school, the route usually to work your way up in a kitchen is start as a dishwasher.
Oh gosh.
And what you have to do is show up on time every day. And that's all it takes to move up in a kitchen. be consistent and show up. And if you get a degree, maybe you might start as a line cook instead of someone who's a dishwasher. So it helps a little bit, I would say. You definitely have more of like a rich understanding of food, of course, but I didn't do that. I studied food science, and my first job outside of college was in a test kitchen.
Okay.
I would say, and I'm not plugging them because I no longer work for them and they're not paying me, but one of the best test kitchens in all of the US is in Oak Park, Illinois. And they work with some of the biggest global food companies behind the scenes, doing really cool user-centric product development. They were doing user-centric design before it was cool. Decades before, 40, 50 years before it was cool. And they take technical sensory science, which is really just professional taste testers that quantify, and they put metrics to different tastes.
So there's a thing as a profestional taste
tester.
Yes. Why am I not a professional taste tester?
And you get paid really well because you're trained for a long time.
Like I have a good palate.
You're done. They're in Oak Park. They're on Oak Park Avenue. Like, go check them out. It's amazing. And they also do a lot of focus groups and quantitative research with, CLTs, which is central location tests, large amount of people, and they're able to design food. It's remarkable how they approach it. And I worked for them. That was my first job. I was so lucky. And
to land like the top test kitchen.
Yes. Yeah. And it was almost only females that worked at this company. Okay. Just strong. It was female empowerment, user-centric design, right? Big buzzwords right now.
Creativity. Yeah.
Way many years ago. And
so if your company, you have a new Cheeto.
Oh yeah.
You go to this
You
test
go
kit.
to them and they'll ideate for you.
Okay.
And it's great for companies that like large companies that have a lot of stakeholders and a lot at risk because they're so technical. They can say, why'd you make that decision? Nothing's arbitrary. Well, this percentage of consumers, you can do it regional, you can do national, global. They pinpoint things. And some of their products were so well designed that they weren't touched in the market for almost 10 years.
Wow.
With how quick consumers are adapting and changing. Sometimes you have to change a product every 6 months, change the salt level, maybe change the packaging. Maybe, green will pop more and Q natural more than this, blue we had before.
Yeah.
You're always updating things, but Food Marketing Support Services is the full name of the company. They nail it that you usually don't need to touch it for the market for a while.
Huh.
And that was my first job. So food marketing, and I wasn't just the food scientist in the test kitchen working alongside chefs. I was allowed into the room. We had a PhD psychologist on staff who helped think through how do we talk to consumers in a way that we can garner the right insights to guide the design of a food product.
Oh, cool.
And so I got to learn the psychological approach to consumer research. And then our VP of marketing, Pam Reardon, one of the smartest women I've ever met. And so she took me under her wing to kind of show me like the design thinking principles. I had never been exposed to that type of thinking before.
And solving a problem first.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when she started talking about design thinking principles in regards to food, she said, let's talk about the design of a piece of furniture first. And I was like, whoa, we're going way macro on this. And I got so excited that it was an artful approach to something like making the crispiest French fry. It was so much fun. Yeah. And I just felt so lucky for the opportunity. It's owned by a woman named Nancy Rodriguez, and sensory science is a fairly new science. Okay. She is known as one of the gurus in all of the world to help people look at sensory science as a true science and not just, professional taste testers and sitting around drinking coffee. No, it's serious science. And she put it on the map. And they
have 50 years of data to go back on, which is cool.
Yes. Yeah. So that was my first job. And so it was a really rich experience.
Do you have any products or things that you could talk about at a high level without saying?
I could talk about company names. I couldn't talk about specific projects we worked on. So one of the largest projects I worked on was for Bush Beans, and it was their most successful international launch to date. And it was
it with the retriever?
I know.
I love him. Yeah.
We need to include this dog. And then
more dogs, more puppies.
More puppies is what I suggested. And we've worked with McDonald's and Barilla, Mars.
Okay.
So some really big
local companies, actually.
Yes.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yes. And I haven't kept in great touch with Food Marketing Support Services since, but they're doing really well. And what it's interesting when you're working in the executive level in the food industry who you're able to talk to. And so if they talk to someone that's lower level in the product development lab, sometimes their concepts of how you should approach strategic development is kind of like over people's heads a little bit.
Yeah. But
when they talk to executive leadership, it's like they get it right away. Okay. They're like, we have to work with this company. So it was a combination of other women empowering me and just getting exposed to so many different facets. Yeah. I'm like, that's what marketing is. Okay.
Yeah. And you probably didn't even realize how great it was until you step away from it.
Yes, right. I'm like, it was a lot of work, and I definitely earned the knowledge that I gained. It was like long, and then you doing international consumer research, which means you're traveling. Yeah. But I was like 22, 23. So I was like, bring it on. Like I can 1 hour sleep, no problem. It was good. But
and how long does a project take there? Like on average, is it like a 6 month, year long? So, I keep thinking Cheeto. Yes. I don't know why I keep saying new Cheeto, but like you have the new Cheeto, the dill pickle Cheeto, or whatever it is.
I would say historically, their projects would be like 24 months.
Oh my gosh.
But since innovation cycles are really rapid nowadays, from what I've learned from colleagues that know what they're up to now, they're way faster projects. Okay, cool. Because they know they had to adapt to the
Agile
evolving.
Development,
yes. So I think they're way quicker now.
Okay, nice. Okay, so you're there, and then what's the next move? Yeah.
So the next move was actually like a really, really quick stint, like embarrassingly quick stint at a company called Taylor Farms. They're in Chicago. Okay. And they were, I think, the first packaged salad company. Oh. That might have been out of another location, I think in California, maybe. But they did a lot of fruit cups and like healthier deli options. Prepared salads is the food category name. And it was a great experience because I got to see a side of the industry I never saw before, which was working in a plant environment.
Gosh, that had to be so different. Yeah.
So different. And it wasn't
safety is a big deal.
Food safety obsessive, lots of HACCP plans, which is this very technical side of the food industry. And I'm more on the qualitative side.
Yeah.
I'm not I was in a lab, and the lab was attached to the refrigerator side of the facility, so it was freezing, and
I'd be out already.
Oh, yeah. it was crazy, but it was really, really fast paced.
Yeah,
and it wasn't the right job for me. They weren't going to get the value out of me that they could have gotten. I just wasn't the right role for me, so I left after just like 2 or 3 months.
Okay, that's okay though. Yes. I mean, you figure out what you like, and you know. Do them a favor too. Yes. You're not sticking around.
Totally.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm not doing you a favor. So I actually supplemented some cash after that job by working at a catering company.
Okay.
I was there, it's called Garmager, and that's I was a prep cook, which if anyone's in the food industry watching this, they're gonna be like, Garmager, that's like one of the lowest levels in a kitchen. And it was. But it's like, it's like, oh, you want to get good at knife skills? Here's 250 heads of lettuce, chop them up perfectly. Because it was a premium catering company. So it was, get the ruler out, make sure it's perfect. And that was a great experience too. I mean, it was, in my mind, I knew it was gonna be like a short part of my life. Yeah. But it reminded me that, this was the right decision. I can't, your fingernails are bleeding from scrubbing the floors. You cut yourself, you burn yourself.
Oh my God.
Crazy hours.
Just looking out, seeing 200 heads of lettuce.
Oh, yeah. It's like,
despair.
All of these, really?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Oh
and
my
then people don't eat it all, and you're like, why did I do this?
I cut that perfectly.
Yes. So that was great. Another good experience. And then after that, I'm gonna say the word lucky a lot. I feel so lucky with my life because someone gave me a chance, and that's how I feel like I've been able to take these steps in my career. I'm
gonna say you have inherent capability, but
thank
go
you.
ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, you gotta check me every now and then. And it's just often it would be with people who had a conversation with me in person, and they were able to say, I like you. Yeah. And I don't know what you can do,
good energy.
But you're articulate, and you've good energy, and I think you're trainable.
Yeah.
And so a person that used to be a salesperson at Food Marketing Support Services when I was the lead in the test kitchen, because if I'm working with McDonald's or a huge company, an ingredient salesperson knows if I sell you, let's say, a grapefruit flavor to go into a new beverage line, at 0.1% usage in a total formula, that could be, multi-million dollars in just 1 year. Yeah. So people were really nice to me because salespeople knew if she's working with huge companies behind the scenes, she can get my ingredient in the door at these
Okay.
big companies.
Yeah.
And really just clean house for that, just make a bunch of money for them. And so he really liked working with me because I knew I had the power by being the person who could say yes or no to these ingredients and make them a bunch of money. But I didn't flex on them in a rude way. I would say, I'm happy to have you. I'm happy to have this meeting with you.
It's always worth a listen, in my opinion.
Worth
there
a
might
listen.
be some new whiz-bang thing that you haven't thought about
yet. Yes. They might bring me something that's very cool. And gosh, it's, we work so many hours in our day to day. Can't you just be nice to each other?
Right.
And respectful and not be like, oh, you're the peon in this situation. I'm the higher up. No.
I was in pharmaceutical sales and I would have to sit in the doctor's office for like 45 minutes, 3 hours, 5 hours before they'd let me come in for like 2 minutes. Yeah, I didn't last long there.
No, that sounds terrible. That sounds terrible. So came out of those types of things where his name was Brian and he was like, she's a nice kid. And so he had an opening at his company. Was an ill-defined job, kind of like communications, kind of inside sales, but I needed to have ambiguous, which I liked because I could help shape it kind of. And, if I was going to be working with him kind of on the sales team, having a technical sensory and consumer research background, I could go into these meetings with these food scientists and say, let's get down to brass tacks here. What are the flavors that you were tasting in this compound that you dislike? I can help you articulate it. Yeah. And then I could help you say, oh, that's a different ingredient sample I need to get you. And I could just work with them and have the right lexicon of communication. And we could help sell more ingredients, but it was more problem solving first than anything.
Well, and I like that you had the background of kind of all of it.
Yes.
Like soup to nuts, the manufacturing side, the actual chopping the lettuce side. Mm-hmm. Yeah, cool.
So Brian saw that, I applied to a lot of different jobs and people were kind of like, who's this little snot-nosed kid? She says she's got all of this on her resume. What does she really know? So they just threw my resume away. But Brian,
applying online never works, unfortunately.
Never. It never works. Honestly.
And it's like a degrading experience.
Oh, it's just like, and you get my ego in check. I'm going to start applying to jobs online. Oh, it's so bad. So he gave me a chance and mostly inside sales, like I said, when it started off and then slowly but surely, I should say very quickly, Brian realized this girl's smart.
Yeah.
This girl needs to be moved up very quickly at this company because she can make big decisions. And I didn't hesitate to make them. And I didn't hesitate to feel like I don't belong in this role. I'm not smart enough. I'm not good enough. I just had fun making the decisions and I was respected along the way. Yeah. And I owned it. And after a couple years, I was the VP of the entire company.
Awesome. At how old?
26.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yes.
And I shouldn't even ask that because it shouldn't matter age, but I did want to highlight that you're very
still,
young.
Maybe people that are listening might be like, okay, I'm 25. It can happen. Just the right situations unfold and own it.
Yeah.
Know that you do deserve it. You don't need to be a man.
Thank you for saying that.
Yes, totally.
Okay, good. So you're there and you're leading comms, marketing, and are you still in the food side of it?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Just 100% food industry. Okay. And so I went from mostly just the email marketing programs, lighter things. And then as I went to the VP role, I'll just throw corporate titles around, but I was functioning as a CMO, COO, hiring manager and HR lead. I was business development lead as well. So I'd handle a lot of new client interactions. Yeah. We were trying to get more into the startup industry space.
Okay.
Small projects, not huge amount of money, but Bryson as a business, which was the company name, Bryson Group is now their formal name. They were more just focused on ingredients. And then they did a 180 as a business. So they started functioning like a startup. And they thought, you know what? We can't be the middleman to help broker and consult in ingredients to different food companies. That's a dying business. Yeah. So Brian tried to be forward thinking and he said, we're going to acquire a consumer research and sensory facility called Product Dynamics in Orland Park, Illinois. Okay. We're going to merge them into our company and we're going to become consultants. And although I said I had 1 or 2 years experience doing that, I wasn't at the level where I can be managing a whole company that does it. I genuinely didn't know enough, but we did it. We went in.
We were like, but we did it.
But we did it anyways.
Yeah.
And that was when my life took a huge turn. But by nearly going into a nervous breakdown.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But only good things came out of it. And
did you guys know for sure that was the right strategy? Did you feel it like in your bones that was the right way to go, or were?
I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't, but it wasn't my decision. I was the VP, but I wasn't the CEO.
Right.
And so Brian did lean to me and said, like, what would be some of your thoughts about doing this? And I said no, because I don't, if you're looking at me as the expert in the company right now to lead this, I don't know enough. Genuinely don't have enough experience. We could hire some consultants maybe that haven't 40 years of experience doing this, but I 1 to 2 years experience doing it. And so I suggested we don't do it, but he just knew the business that we were in ingredients was a dying industry to be the middleman. We had to be forward thinking. And I know that he was just genuinely interested in product development and innovation. So doing this merger was going to help with that. And so that was when I had worked in brand strategy before. I had rebranded a couple different businesses. Okay. And this opportunity I had to oh, wow. It was a lot at once. Yeah. I had to rebrand Bryson. I had to...
Which it's beautiful, by the way.
Oh, really nice. Thank you. I will accept the
compliment.
Statement.
Yeah.
It's hard to, but thank you. And I had to, it was just so many things. I also rebranded another business we had running on the side that was my baby. Brian knew that I was just an ambitious little go-getter, that I was really busy doing my full-time job, but I still wanted more of a challenge, which was crazy.
Same. I have the same affliction.
I'm like, what's wrong with myself? I like pain.
Yeah. Why can't I just have one, like go to work, come home, and then I have to have 7 jobs.
Yes. Like, what was I doing? So the company is called Go Clean Label. Okay. And I was the founding partner with Brian, and he bankrolled it. And his idea was clean label was a new trendy buzzword.
Yeah. Well, you guys are kind of in the mix on those sorts of emerging things.
Yes. Emerging like really early on. And this was in 2016, I believe. And maybe like springtime. And it hadn't reached this huge critical mass yet. But Brian said, you know what, Theresa? I've been in a lot of meetings lately with food scientists. And they've said, clean label, it's an ambiguous term. The FDA, the USDA, no one weighs in on what it truly means, what its definition is. It's constantly changing. And it changes based on lists that are policies that come from Kroger, H-E-B, Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, Aldi, big organized retail chains. They're the ones that say, this is my clean label policy. And so the product development companies around the world that make products or ingredients for them, they have to adhere to them. Okay. And it's complicated. There's
weird way to do it.
6 to 10 different companies with 6 to 10 different lists. And Brian said, what if we just launched a website that was a search bar? You type in an ingredient, click search, and it would say, this is clean label or this is not clean label, and according to whom.
Oh, wow.
And it would show, according to Kroger, it's clean label. Whole Foods says it's not. And then this was the big kicker. An unbiased scientific definition would then follow. Okay. What it is and what industries the ingredient is used in.
And by clean label, what types of products are you referring to?
So clean label, it would really be guided by ingredients. So it would be, let's say, butylated hydroxytoluene, which is BHT. It's like the one that I had to memorize that one in college. BHT is a common preservative, but it's chemically derived and made in a lab. So it's not perceived as a clean ingredient. A clean ingredient might be citric acid. Okay. Because the typical consumer would think citric acid, that comes from lemon juice. That feels clean, that feels natural. Okay. It really was a loose way of saying, is this considered natural to consumers?
And the clean label is kind of the push for organic, a more natural.
More natural.
Okay.
Yes. And it was super murky definition. And the search bar based website, it went incredibly well because there was a true need for it in the industry. Yeah. We got to it. We were first to market. And I would argue because we remained unbiased, we were best to market also.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that earned a lot of trust from food scientists. They are so used to these big food companies. I won't disparage any big food companies, but a lot of them, of course, it makes sense to guide the conversation by owning the conversation.
Well, yeah, it seems odd that they would be the ones dictating what is clean versus not. But I get it. It's for their stores, but there's no third party unbiased that's
totally
kind of
unbiased.
It.
We had some big ingredient companies come to us and say, well, what if, we make processed wheat or some type of product like that? We want to write all the definitions for those wheat ingredients. And then we would love to have our logo being like sponsored by our company. And gosh, the money is appealing. It's so appealing.
Yeah.
But Brian and I said, we put all of this work into this website. It's got so much integrity. We're going to put one banner ad up on this website. We lose all of it.
Yeah.
So it never made any money.
Well, that was my next question. What happened with it? And did you guys sell it? Or?
So the exciting thing is, so in July 2016 is when the site launched, and within a few months, we won an innovation award in Chicago for the website. It was I think it's called Chicago Inno, and we were top 50, and that was exciting. It's awards are just kind of made up things that people give to each other, right. But being like this whippersnapper who just was putting our heart and soul into something.
Yeah.
I worked with a coder to build the website.
Something from ideation to commercialization.
And when it got an innovation award, and then there is an organization called the Institute of Food Technologists. We call it IFT. They started looking to Go Clean Label as the voice of Clean Label.
Oh.
Because we were so technical.
Yeah.
And unbiased, once again. And it was just going so well. But then you could imagine Brian, as a business owner, said, you know what, Theresa, we need to focus.
Yeah,
we
we're
just
not monetizing
need to focus.
it. Yeah.
We're doing Go Clean Label. We need to focus on Bryson.
What's the worst thing in foods that we eat?
Oh,
that's
gosh.
Anything chemically derived sounds gross.
Yes.
Yeah. And are we eating that a lot?
Oh, gosh. I'm like, what can I say on here without getting an angry letter from somebody?
Yeah.
I would say, here's what I can say without getting into any trouble, is it would be helpful if... Gosh, this is always if people critically thought more.
Don't worry. I don't think we have that many listeners. That you're like, yes.
Good. I'm like, who's
maybe
listening?
Someday.
Is Bill Gates listening? I'm sorry.
No, it's probably like my mom. And
Good. Okay, cool. So I would say, to be honest, it's a lot of products that are being launched right now under plant-based.
Oh, that stuff grosses me out. Yeah,
okay, thank you. You said it.
Yeah.
I didn't say it. But it's just, if you are interested in living a vegetarian lifestyle, that is fantastic. I really do agree with that. Flexitarian, the way to go. If you can skip meat every now and then, have some tofu.
I don't need the fake meat, and I'm almost vegetarian, but yeah.
Have a black bean burger. But it's when you're looking at the grocery store and you see all these fun new products being launched, all I might suggest is look at the package. Look at the package, look at the ingredients, and think, how processed is this?
Ugh.
And maybe instead get a piece of organic chicken, instead of getting something that's extremely processed. Just look at how processed something might be.
And the plant-based has some weird side effects. I was reading, like, if you eat so many Impossible Whoppers, things happen to your body.
That does not surprise me.
Yeah, there's a lot of soy protein in it. And it's not good. They've been working on them for a few years now, and so they're going to learn things over time. I love the ultimate goals that are, what's your mission statement as the business? I love it. And I'm hopeful that over the next couple decades, things will get better. But I'm the believer in, if the closer to nature you are, the better it is for you. Yeah, yeah. So when something says organic, I know there's kind of loopholes around that.
Yes. There's certified, 100% certified organic, and then there's certified organic. And they both have different, 100% certified, as you could imagine. It has to be 100% of the ingredients have to be organic. And then the just certified organic, it can be a little bit less of the ingredients can be. And that's a rule because things like hydrocolloids, so that would be guar gum or different gums.
Everything, I feel like.
It's in a lot of things.
Yeah.
Some of those gums, and I don't think guar gum would be one of them, but some of those gums are so specific.
Taste for guar gum.
I'm hungry for some guar gum. Different gums aren't available in organic sometimes. And sometimes they're derived from seaweeds, so pretty natural.
Okay.
But sometimes they aren't available in organic. So the USDA had to make some sort of allowance that, okay, there can be a small percentage of things in organic that are not certified.
Yeah. Holy smokes. Okay.
Yes.
I'm just going to start growing stuff in my yard and call it a day.
which makes sense. Like brands like Trader Joe's and Whole Foods have gained so much trust from consumers. Yeah. It's because of these loopholes that the government pushes that people just start saying, well, if it's from the 365 brand, I trust it. They trust brands more than they trust the government nowadays. And there's really not much brand loyalty anymore. So it's crazy.
Okay.
Crazy world.
Sorry for that digression. I just was always curious about that because I do try to read the labels, but I feel like they're tricking me. So
yes, everyone. See, if you feel like they're tricking you, we've done consumer research around that. And that's what people say. I don't trust. I feel like I'm being tricked.
Yeah. So you're at Bryson, you're this young executive on top of the world.
Yes.
And then you gave it all up.
Yes.
And went to Italy, which is really what I want to hear about.
That's why you're here today.
Yes.
I'm excited to talk about it. So,
and I was like, can she please take me with her? And
please, I want to go to Italy. So
it wasn't just quitting your job though. You sold all your worldly possessions.
Yes. So where it all stemmed from was I made a pilgrimage to Italy before I did all of that.
Okay.
I was still working as a VP. I took pretty much the first vacation in 3.5 years working crazy. And it wasn't just working, let's say like 60, 70-hour weeks, which some people are listening to this being like, that's not that many hours a week. But it was the qualitative nature of what I put into 1 hour. It was my heart. I cared so much about every decision. So I finally took a vacation. I was so excited. I went to Italy and I just picked.
And I think that's around the time we met. Did you go for like a month?
Yeah, that might have been around the time. Yeah. I went for 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay.
And I knew that my family, Cantafio comes from Calabria, which is like way southern Italy, the little tip of the boot that's kicking Sicily.
Okay.
But my grandmother, who I was closer with, her last name was Fulgenzi, and that comes from Abruzzo, which is directly east of Rome. So pretty much central Italy, but politically and economically considered southern Italy, which means it's very poor.
Okay.
And
I've not been to Italy. I've been to a lot of places.
Okay.
And I want to go, so we'll have to talk offline.
Yes,
about
we
where
will.
To go. Yes.
I'll give you all the tips, and I have some friends. Yeah, it would be great. And I knew that they came from Abruzzo. Abruzzo it's a very big region in Italy. A lot of people live there, and I didn't know where my family came from.
Okay.
So I literally picked a spot on the map, and I went. And when I arrived, it was not beautiful mountains, but I arrived on a bus in like the industrial part of the town.
Yeah.
I was like, where the hell am I? It's disgusting here. What is this? And the woman who owns the Airbnb picked me up. And because I didn't have a car, which was really stupid. I couldn't drive stick shift, so I couldn't really rent a car in the middle of nowhere in Italy because mostly they only had manual cars. And in Italian, she only spoke Italian, and I speak pretty good Italian. She was asking me like, what was my plan? Why was I there? Why this random freaking town in Abruzzo, Italy, on the side of a mountain? And I just said, I picked it. And I said, well, to be honest, my family comes from here. And I know they're probably not from this region, but they're probably from somewhere here. And that's why I'm here. And she's like, well, tell me the last name. You know, if the family, the last name, if they were here for a long time, we'll know it. I will hear it and I'll recognize it.
It means more in other countries.
Yes. Yeah. And so I said, Fulgenzi. And she said, that last name is native to this town.
Oh my gosh.
I got
what the hell are the
goosebumps.
Odds? Yeah.
Yes. And then I was like, okay. And the matron side of her family, last name was Bucci. And she said, that comes from my hometown, which is just over the other side of the mountains. So you're definitely
instant friends with this woman.
Yes. I was like, pretty much we're family. Okay, cool. Hey, auntie. And this woman took care of me. She fed me. She didn't bathe me. she fed me.
Forget it.
This is weird. And she just took me in like family because I didn't have a car. I couldn't go to the grocery store. I did not think this through. And that was where
this is a rom-com.
It is
a
rom-com.
The start of a rom-com.
Right?
She has a son, and
she did have a creepy. Her brother-in-law had a son or something, and that was the creepy part of the rom-com that could have unfolded. I had to be like, stay away from me, please, sir.
Yeah. You're like, I'm from Chicago.
Yes. Yeah. Do not mess with me. Usually that phrase goes along.
Yeah.
Oh, Michael Jordan. Yeah, that's Chicago. And while I was there, I was reading this book. It's called Swimming with the Whale.
Okay.
And it's a very esoteric book, but it is one of those books that it's like a life-changing book to the point where it chooses when you're ready to read the next chapter. It's a lot. I think I'm on chapter 3 out of, let's say, 19. It radicalizes you so much that it's scary.
Okay, yeah.
So I was reading.
When the student is ready, the teacher appears.
That's it. And I was reading this book in the sunlight and on Abruzzo on the side of the mountains. And there was this one section that said, I'm totally like paraphrasing and it's not going to be as beautiful when I repeat it, but it was saying, if you feel a lot of anxiety in your life right now, it's because you placed those bricks. Yeah. You built that house of anxiety.
Yeah.
So what you can do is knock down that house of anxiety and build a palace that brings you peace and fulfillment. And for some reason, the house metaphor, it just clicked for me. I was like, it is that simple. Doing all the work isn't that easy, but it is that simple to grasp that concept.
That you are in control. Yeah.
You're in control.
Yeah.
And right before I left, her name was Renata, Dr. Renata. She was one of the only doctors in the whole town.
She's a doctor? Oh my gosh.
Very, very intelligent woman.
Okay.
And she, right before I left, she could just see I had this feeling, this overwhelming, shaking stress because I knew I was going back to my job.
Oh gosh, yeah.
I had a couple more days back to my job. I was leaving her house to then head on an airplane home.
Yeah.
And she looked at me and she said, build a life you don't need to escape from.
Gosh.
And that was it. That just like sealed the deal that I needed to rip apart my life. And I never say start anew because I want to use my past as a good foundation to move me forward. So I ripped apart my life. I kept the things that I loved and I flipped to the next chapter. And that meant quitting my job, selling almost all of my possessions.
Yeah.
Donating 95% of my clothes, almost all my shoes, all the things that you just I need a suitcase. I don't need anything else. And
that might be the hard part for me. the clothing part and shoes. Yes.
It was hard. And at the same time, it was easy just because I just knew what those decisions. I bought these beautiful suits and pencil skirts and pumps for my job and for a life that I no longer liked. Yeah. And so it represented this anxiety. So I was like, I'm going to Goodwill, gonna donate this stuff. Do not, and I had no plan. I just really, and I wouldn't stress that. It was fun. Everyone's like, maybe you should think through, what towns you're going to go to in Italy when you buy a plane ticket.
Like, no, that defeats. Because then you're putting deadlines and timelines on yourself. So what did your family think?
They thought I was crazy.
Yeah.
So my mom and my aunt kept saying, you've got balls of steel.
Yeah.
And I don't know why it has to be like a male part that we're so like I'm a strong woman. I got a strong backbone.
A vulva of steel.
Yeah, vulva. That's way more. You kick some man, he's down. You kick a woman, she's more resilient in that area. Balls of steel is what they said, and I mean this wholeheartedly. I wasn't scared because I knew that the uncertainty of my future was going to be better than the stress of my past.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So you go there.
Bought a one-way ticket to Palermo, Sicily. In my head, I thought maybe I'll just start at the way end of Italy and work my way up north, where I had some family that migrated up to Varese, which is way northern Italy.
And do you
just
have
south
a savings
of
that you're working off of? Or like,
barely.
How are you living?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Financially was not a good decision. I was making an okay salary when I was a vice president, and I was living it up. I was out with my friends all the time.
Right.
I was out with the colleagues, and I wasn't saving my money properly.
Right.
I never got taught those lessons. And so I didn't have much,
okay.
but I wasn't scared. I was not scared.
Well, that's why I was asking. Cause like, if you got a little cushion, then it feels a little better, but if not,
I didn't have that much of a cushion. And I'm looking back now, I'm like, it was a few grand. I think I honestly had $5,000.
Okay.
That was a lot of
money.
That'll
last a little bit.
A little bit. And I knew I could only be there legally for 90 days or less.
Oh, okay.
Because of the tourist visa I was on. So I started in Palermo. I spent a week alone doing yoga in my Airbnb. It was the rainy season. I was like, I'm going to go to the beach and it's going to be this fantasy. And it was not from that perspective. The weather, it was cold. It was maybe like 45 degrees, 55 degrees and just icky like rain and clouds. And I tried to make the best of it because I'm like, I'm not going home. Are you kidding me? But it was a good time of solitude for me to go, what the hell did I just do?
Which is what you needed apparently.
I did. I needed that silence and that I needed the dust to settle. And while I was in my Airbnb in Sicily, I watched a couple Chef's Table episodes, the Netflix show.
Yeah.
Amazing show. And I watched the Sicily episode because why not? I'm in Sicily.
Yeah, yeah.
And the award-winning best bakery, people argue the best gelato in the world, is in Noto, Sicily, at a place called Caffè Sicilia. And I thought it's a few hour train ride away from where I'm at right now. Although it's the opposite. So that was southeast from Palermo. And although I was trying to head up north to Calabria, I thought, whatever, I'm going to go down there. And that is when all these things flipped around. I went to Cafe Sicilia. I volunteered for 1 week with this woman, her aging father. He had just had, I think, heart surgery. He was fully with it mentally in his late 80s. He just was a man full of stories with no grandkids.
Aww.
And so his daughter, Doriana Pagani, actually a famous artist in Italy. She retired from her art career in Milan and she moved to Noto with her dad to take care of him after the hospital. He just lost his wife. And so she started allowing volunteers who wanted someplace to stay to come to her house.
These are people you don't know.
Strangers.
Okay.
And I don't think my parents quite knew what I was doing, but they would not approve. What are you doing? But I'm from Chicago, right? So I'm from Chicago.
Like, I got this. I can take care of myself.
I got it. I think I had some pepper spray in my checked baggage. Like that was really going to help that much. And that was fantastic experience. It's on the seaside, which they call it, like it was called a Lido di Noto, which means like the seaside of Noto on the ocean.
And the weather's better?
Oh, it was amazing. Yeah. For some reason, it was 1 week after Palermo and it was a week of like 70, 75 and sunny.
Okay. Yeah.
And while I was
you're
there,
where you're supposed to be.
Yes. While I was there, I did an Airbnb experience. I keep saying Airbnb, so they're gonna like they're gonna like this.
We're looking for sponsors.
We're looking for some sponsors. Amazing organization. And I did an experience, and it was on an ancient Sicilian farm in Noto. And it was mostly just vegetarian food, but it was plucked right from the garden, the farm, and it was literally farm to table. And then in the description, it was, and my girlfriend will be preparing a fresh Sicilian meal for us.
Oh my gosh.
And so I said, why not? You know, I mean, I think it was $70, which is kind of a lot of money out of the $5,000. That's too much to take, but I wasn't thinking logically. And I did it. I made best friends with the owner of this farm. His name's Fabio Santuccio.
Of course it is, yeah.
I know, everyone's like, really, his name's Fabio. I'm like, yeah, his name was Fabio. And his girlfriend was Annarella Susini. And I was the only person on the tour that day.
Oh my gosh.
They could have easily said, this is not worth it financially for us. You know, the cost is only financially profitable after 10 people arrive. But they don't just do it to make money. They do it to inspire others to see, although very, very ancient farming techniques are not feasible for global reasons of feeding the earth. I get it. And they get it. But they still said someone needs to preserve these methods so that we can look back and say, what should we keep?
Yeah.
What are we doing now that's a little too advanced? People are getting cancer. There's all of these health problems with our modernized farming system. And so Fabio has preserved this 400-year-old family farm.
Oh my gosh.
It is, have you heard of a monoculture? Okay, so monoculture is when you grow one specific type of food.
Okay.
Takes up a bunch of land, and it just, nature, same with humans and sociology, we need diversity to grow. Yeah. Nature needs it as well. And what Fabio does is he doesn't have a monoculture. It's diverse. It's not just orange trees, because they grow really, really well in Sicily. It's any different type of lemon tree, clementine tree, lime trees, and then herbs and vegetables. And the bees are so happy. Olive trees, almonds grow really well in Sicily too. And
how can you even come back and eat like plain food on the way back?
I sound kind of pretentious sometimes. I'm like, I don't want to eat that. I'm happy with just a little piece of bread and olive oil. Yeah. And my boyfriend, he's Japanese, and I swear, I'm like, you're more Italian than me. He makes homemade bread and dips it in olive oil, and he likes the simple things just like me. And that's kind of what a lot of things I took out of this trip. But one thing, so when I brought this up a couple minutes ago and you said, oh, I wish you would have taken me to Italy. Everyone said that. Yeah. And it made me start to realize romanticizing a life of leaving it all and going to Italy. Yeah. A lot of people daydream about that idea. They stare out the window at a stressful day at work and think, that would be nice.
And what did the woman say to you again? Live a life you don't want to escape.
Build a life you don't need to escape from.
Yeah. Poetic.
Perfect. It was perfect. And it was in Italian, so it was way better when she said it. Like, oh, how do you translate that? And so when I was with Fabio and Annarella, they okay, who are you? What are you up to next? And I said, I don't know. I was a few years, they were young, they were in their 30s, they're young farmers, but they saw, I think, a part of themselves in me as I was still hopeful. I wasn't jaded yet from the world. And they said, why don't you stay with us? We've got a little cabin. maybe 50 yards from our little cabin. It's got Wi-Fi, it's got plumbing. It's fine. Do you want to stay there? It's the slow season. And they gosh, come on. Nowadays in the US, we think, what if they murder me? Right? Yeah. Like that's where our heads go from all the stimuli we're presented with on a day-to-day basis. But it's different in a country like Italy.
Yeah, they want to take care of you. Yeah.
And since my family was also from Southern Italy, there is this camaraderie with Southern Italians because they're called una terrona, which means you're dirty, you're from the earth. It's a really derogatory thing to say to someone that's from Southern Italy. And also you got darker skin. Okay. And so you look dirty that way. And people from Northern Italy, successful economy, they're much closer to the white part of Europe.
Oh, interesting.
And it's this elitism in the culture in Northern Italy. And in no way, I'm not talking, I got family that live there now because the farms and the agriculture was falling apart in Southern Italy. Droughts, and they didn't know how to address it.
Yeah.
They wouldn't listen to the outside help, and things move really slowly in Southern Italy, and they still do. So my family moved up north to get jobs. So I'm not smacking Northern Italy, but when you say to someone that's Southern Italian, I have roots in Southern Italy, there's this bond immediately where you're you don't judge me, and we're kind of like family.
Yeah.
So Fabio, I think he looked at me that way. But back to what you were saying about romanticizing the idea of going to Italy, just giving it all away. Things will be better that way. Many people felt that was just going to be the best life ever. The thing is, Southern Italy is still struggling. The economy is terrible. Employment rate is really high. And a lot of the youth that are born in Sicily and in southern parts of Italy move to the north because they get jobs. They believe there's better universities up there. And it devastates towns. There was a small town in Abruzzo where I was, I think it was Castelnuovo, and it was only old people. The population was...
Wait, I just read about a town that is paying people to go live in the town.
I think it's someplace in Basilicata. Yes. And
it's $800 a month to live there, but they want people that are younger and can have kids. And
there's all of these promotional ways to bring awareness to Southern Italy, also just bring money to the economy.
But are there any big businesses in Italy?
There are. I would say Barilla is one of the biggest. They're up north though. And I think there's numerous big, most in out, and there's a lot of car companies. Okay. Mostly Northern Italy though. Okay. And there's a reason why. So it makes sense from a shipment standpoint. Yeah. You're right near the rest of Europe by being up near Northern Italy. And Southern Italy, like I said, they're slower with things, but they know that. So the way I look at it is Italy is a body, a full body. And if you cut off the torso down, the whole body dies. It'll bleed to death. Yeah. And that's what's happening.
They should work together.
Companies like Italy, if anyone's been there in Chicago, it's one of my favorite places to go.
Unbelievable.
They mostly only source things from Northern Italy. Okay. Because they're a business.
That's where it's available,
Hey, you need to get another pound of Genovese pesto from Liguria. Boom, you'll get it tomorrow. They're with it. They're fast. They're with the rest of the world with modern technology. Southern Italy is a little bit slower, but they're trying to get with it because they know they're dying. Okay. And one thing that was really unexpected that came out of that trip with Fabio was Fabio got to know me and he said, you come from a marketing background. You speak Italian, you speak English, you're a writer.
Creative,
all this stuff. And he said, you're the missing piece to what I've been wanting to build for a while. And that is a platform, essentially a website that is focused on intelligently distributed tourism. Okay. So there are certain tourism organizations right now that they do a promotion for a small town in Italy, maybe it's Southern Italy, and they end up sending, let's say, 2,500 people to a town of a population of 80. Not only can the town not handle it from a housing standpoint, but also from a plumbing standpoint, electrical standpoint. You drink up all their wine in one weekend. It does not work. And it will further destroy Italy if that's the model.
And it's a short-term fix.
Short-term, very short-term. And so one thing that Fabio and I are hoping to build in the next year or two, it's a slow process. And he says piano, piano, which means slowly, patient. I'm like, okay, fine.
You're in it for the long game. Yeah.
Yes. And I'm the American that's trying to set deadlines on things. And they're being more thoughtful with their approach, which I appreciate. But his approach, he believes, will take maybe 50 to 100 people to a small town. And then, but not just to one small town, but to 120 small towns across southern Italy.
Yeah.
And he already has a tourism app that he founded that's going really well.
Awesome.
It's called the El Loro district of Sicily, which is like the southeast region of Sicily. So he knows what he's doing from a tourism and marketing standpoint. And I would just be like polishing it to be more of a global facing organization, because I come from the American, so we're working on that, and we're hoping to get a critical mass of people who believe in saving Italy. It's not if you're passionate about Southern Italy, it's if you're passionate about Italy in general.
Yeah.
So
okay, cool.
Really excited
I'm
about
going to take you up on that, because we were planning a trip to Italy, and we've done some research, but it is kind of hard to know where to go and what to do. And there's so much to do.
There's so much to do.
And like, I want the farm experience where they're cooking me food. And I'll
also give you my friend's information.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. So I think that's good. That's going to be an exciting project that you have coming up.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
So a side hustle, side thing.
So what is next for you?
So next for me is probably
you've got the new role. Yeah.
Starting my new job. And what will be really exciting about that role is I will be focused on brand strategy and communication. And before, I've just been stretched really thin doing other things.
Sure.
And I'm the first to admit I don't know everything. And I'm excited because it's called Proof Branding in Nashville, and they've got a really strong leadership. The CEO, Matt Chevrant, he's really intelligent and is the kind of person that would take me under his wing and not just say, here's how we do things, but he would explain the why behind their process. And I love to learn.
Yeah.
So this is going to be great.
And so you get to set up shop in Denver, which is cool.
Yes. Yeah. I will be starting their Denver location in the downtown Denver area with a mountain range view from my window. And I feel really grateful for this opportunity.
And I know people are going to be interested in the Italy experience. So what is your website for that?
So I ended up founding a little blog called Sidecar
It's
View.
so cute. I love the little Vespa.
Thank you. The little Vespa. And the name Sidecar View, it just was about, like I said numerous times, I had no plan. And so this was when I went into the sidecar of the motorcycle and I just observed life.
Yeah, you're just
being. This is my view from the sidecar of life. And I also minored in photography, like I said earlier. So it's a lot of photographs and
it's beautiful.
Recipes. Thank you.
Your
and
Insta.
Some short stories. So
well, cool. Well, we're very excited to see what's next.
Yes.
And thanks so much for sharing your
Thank
journey.
you.
And I feel like I should say like, ciao. Or something.
Ciao, arrivederci.
Yeah. Thanks so much.